Booyaka booyaka guys, and welcome to episode 290 of Hashtag AskGSM here today for Wednesday, June 19th, 619, 2019. I am Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. I guess that might make today the ultimate Rey Mysterio day, because when you really think about it, today's day is 619, as it is every single year on June 19th. But when you look at the year, it's 2019. So the overall month, June 2019, unless you live in England or another part of the world where you put the day before the month, at least here in the States, it's 619 today, then 19. So the overall month is 619. So it's 619 in 619. I know that makes not the slightest bit of sense, and I apologize for that, but I'm a big mark for calendar stuff, as you guys know. So today is unofficially Rey Mysterio Day. So booyaka to you guys. I know I did that awful. I cannot do it the same way the theme song does, but thought I would throw it out there nonetheless. This is Hashtag AskGSM, like I said before, guys. If you want to send in a question to the show, you could do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Leave a comment on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section of this very video. I'll include it in next week's edition. Two quick things before we get started, though. One, going forward, I want to try to record the show immediately after SmackDown. So for the third consecutive week this week, I asked for you guys for your questions on Twitter and on Facebook, before SmackDown ended. Like right after SmackDown ended. I didn't end up recording it last night, unfortunately. I was just too tired and had other stuff to do. But if I can get all the questions in by right after SmackDown, it saves me time on Wednesday mornings to put the show together. So for example, last Wednesday, I also had to record it on early Wednesday morning, but I couldn't put the show out until 7 p.m. last week because I was out all day. I recorded it, but I couldn't upload it in time to YouTube before I left. So just recording it on Tuesdays makes it way easier, and it gets you guys the video a lot sooner too. So send in the questions before Tuesday night, right after SmackDown 205 Live. I'll probably wait until after 205 Live to record, but just so people get in the habit of sending their questions by a certain time on Tuesdays, I would super appreciate it. Second thing real quick, WrestleRant Radio this week. So next Friday is Ring of Honor's Best in the World pay-per-view. I'm going to have not one, but two special guests on WrestleRant Radio for interviewing ahead of Best in the World next Friday. We have someone on this Thursday, tomorrow, and then someone on next Thursday to talk Best in the World. Two Ring of Honor superstars. So not going to reveal who they are just yet, and they will be available in written form to the interviews, that is, on Daily DDT, Fansided's Daily DDT website. So check them out over there as well. But just a bit of a heads up, Ring of Honor coverage for Best in the World coming to WrestleRant Radio both this week and next week. I think both interviews came out pretty well. They're both about 20 minutes each. So some great content there. You can check them out on WrestleRant Radio both this week and next week. So let's get started here with what you guys came here to hear about. Your questions being answered by yours truly. First question from @RebornAgain, John Ritland on the Twitter machine. Check out his YouTube show, Real Honesty with John Ritland. Awesome stuff as always. His first question was, while I know you don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling regularly, I'm wondering if you'll be checking out the G1 special on July 6th. The card looks quite solid. I should be. It really is a matter of what I'll be doing that day. Now, I think it's airing at a normal time, because I think that one's emanating from Dallas. So it's not going to be at a crazy fucking time in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. like all the other New Japan shows are. Those I never watch live. I am fast asleep by that point. And usually with those shows, if I hear a match is good or I'm excited for a certain match, like for example, Okada and Omega last year at Dominion, or Omega and Okada. Not Omega Okada, I just said that. Omega and Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom 12, I think it was, last year. Great match. Checked it out immediately afterward online the next day. So this one I think is airing at a normal time because I think it's taking place in Dallas. I might be wrong about that. I know Moxley's not on the show despite being the U.S. champion because AEW doesn't want him to work U.S. dates. He was at an indie show that I went to last Friday. Very nice guy. He was at a Northeast Wrestling show both last Friday and Saturday. Really cool to see him, but that's an indie show. It's not being televised, so it's not a big deal. This would be televised, so I guess that's why Moxley will not be appearing on those shows, despite being the U.S. champion. Yes, it's dumb. I don't know why they put the belt on him if they knew that would be the case, but whatever. The show itself, you're right, the card does look great. I talked about the G1 special, the G1 Climax tournament last week, and the lineup that was, expected. They announced everyone that will be competing in it just earlier this week, I think, between Jeff Cobb and Okada. I think Tanahashi, Jay White as well, maybe, and plenty of others. All the others we already knew, like Kenta, Moxley, Ospreay, Shingo. All those guys will be a part of it as well. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fucking great. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll probably check it out. Maybe not the whole show, because these New Japan shows are fucking long. Like, I know people complain about the WWE shows. At least these shows are good. They're entertaining. But it's still a long time to devote to a product I don't really cover. I don't really watch regularly. So if I hear a good thing about a certain match, I'll go back and watch it. But again, if it's live at a decent time, I think July 6th is a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's a Saturday. So I know I checked out parts of the G1 special a few years ago when they were in San Fran. And I remember watching Cody and Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight title and a few other matches like Tanahashi and Billy Gunn, which sounds random as all hell. I think it was for the IC title. So yeah, I'll probably check it out. If I'm around that night, I'm free, and it airs at a decent time, I see no reason why I would not watch it live. His second question, should they just rename Stomping Grounds rematches and rehashes? Seriously, the card seems so phoned in. They might as well. Yeah, the card looks pretty dull on paper. The only real match that intrigues me. Now, I will give credit to Alexa Bliss and Bayley, who, their match, their feud, I don't really care too much about. I see what they're going for with the whole Nikki Cross thing. I appreciate the effort. We've seen Bayley and Bliss before, though. That's the problem. Excuse me. I do appreciate the effort, though, that they put into building the match on SmackDown this week. I thought they did a great job of making me care about the match on SmackDown with their promo. I thought it was great. That being said, the only real match I'm looking forward to on this show is Samoa Joe and Ricochet. It feels like the only fresh match on this entire show. And obviously the Cruiserweight title match too. I don't think people are going to say, oh, I'm looking forward to that. But, it's very rare actually nowadays that we get a multi-man match for the Cruiserweight Championship. It's been a while. It really has been. I could not tell you the last triple threat or fatal four-way that we got for that Cruiserweight Championship. You would have to go back to like 2017, maybe even 2016, when it might be the only three-way in the Cruiserweight Championship's history since they brought it back in 2016. Yeah, I think it was TJP, TJ Perkins, whatever, versus then champion Rich Swann and Brian Kendrick at the Roadblock pay-per-view in December of 2016. Now, someone can check on that for me. They can double-check the archives, check the records, whatever. But I'm pretty sure that was the last time that the title was defended in a multi-man match. And this one should be good. Tony Nese is very good. I've really warmed up to him in the last couple months since he went babyface. Drew Gulak is great. That, he needs no introduction. And then Akira Tozawa is also very, very good. So, that match could be a potential show stealer if given the time and, the crowd's hot for it. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to that match too. But really, it's Samoa Joe and Ricochet for the United States Championship. I think that match could be fucking awesome if given the time to shine. So I'm looking forward to that. Beyond that, Baron Corbin and Rollins, who gives a fuck? Kingston and Ziggler Part 52, who gives a shit? Bayley and Bliss could be okay, but overall, a Raw wrestler challenging for a SmackDown title, no thanks. Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans, again, the feud peaked a while ago. What else do we have? Heavy Machinery and Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, that could be good. I kind of sense that it's going to be total throwaway, but I'm glad that they're at least trying with the SmackDown Tag Team division, getting them on pay-per-view. The belts have not been defended really since WrestleMania. I know the Hardy Boys won them. Jeff got hurt. Bryan and Rowan beat the Usos for them. The Usos ended up beating Bryan and Rowan on the Money in the Bank kickoff show in a non-title match, but never got a title opportunity. So again, it makes no sense. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, it could be one of those shows where my expectations are so low that it could end up exceeding them and being a great show. I don't think that'll be the case. There have not been too many standout WWE pay-per-views in a while. Like, I was at Money in the Bank. I was at WrestleMania. So Stomping Grounds will be the first. And I'm not counting Super Showdown, because that show was a fucking atrocity. Not counting Super Showdown, Stomping Grounds will be the first pay-per-view that I have not been in attendance for since Fastlane. And none of those shows. I mean, WrestleMania was very good. Was it one of the best of all time? I would say no. Maybe one of the best in recent memory, possibly. That's not saying a lot. But anyway, it could be good. But it could also be one of those shows where my expectations are low, yet they find a way to fall below even those low expectations. For example, Battleground 2017. Go back and watch that show. The build sucked. The hype for that show sucked. But you watch that show, somehow it managed to be worse than I thought it would be. That show is an abomination too. So, we'll see. We'll see how they do with the card that they're given. I don't imagine it'll be a great show, but I am looking forward to at least 2 of the matches on the card and hope that they can just get this pay-per-view over with so we can move the fuck on. Because I am so beyond done with Roman and Shane, Roman and Drew, Becky and Lacey, Rollins and Corbin, Ziggler and Kofi. It's time to move the fuck on. John's third question here. Since we're nearly halfway through the year, what have been your 3 favorite and least favorite WWE matches and moments? Great question. I'm going to be honest with you. There have not been many memorable matches for me in WWE in 2019. And it sucks because the roster is so good. But it's really not been a great year for wrestling. Like in-ring action in WWE is what I mean. And by that I mean, like, you look at the pay-per-views. There were a lot of good matches. No matches I would say that are like, oh my god, that was amazing. Like, from WrestleMania, there were a lot of good matches. The only great match from that show that I would include here in my favorite matches and moments was Kofi and Bryan. Easily, hands down, the best match in the entire show. It's not even a fucking question. That was awesome. Probably the best moment all year on the main roster. But nothing else really stands out. Because the product has been so bad since WrestleMania. But even before that, Raw was still not that good. SmackDown, same thing. So I really can't think of many moments or matches that stand out in a positive way to me. Or even in a bad way. Everything just kind of blends together. And that's not good. Another cool moment, I was there for Bayley winning the SmackDown Women's title at Money in the Bank. I was there for obviously when she won the briefcase earlier on in the evening, and then she cashed in on that same show to become champion. Great moment. The place was rocking. I'm a big Bayley fan. I was very happy to see that, so that would have to be up there too. And again, both of those moments I was there for, so that kind of plays a role in why they're my favorite moments in WWE. I'm going to cheat here. You said WWE. I'm going to include NXT and say the title changes at TakeOver 25. Adam Cole becoming the new NXT champion and the Street Profits becoming the new NXT Tag Team champions. Both moments, as they've recorded here for the channel, caused me to lose my collective shit, and the screen went black for at least 10 seconds. That's how crazy I went for those respective title changes. So I'm going to cheat and include those in there. If you don't want to include NXT, honestly, the only other real moment that stands out to me, aside from a few like surprise appearances in the Royal Rumble like Pete Dunne and Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano, would probably be when the Hardy Boys came back on SmackDown. I remember watching with Alexis at her house, and by that point, we had never seen the Hardy Boys together, because when we started dating, Matt Hardy was doing his own thing on Raw. He got hurt, he took time off, and when we met him, he was inactive, so we were waiting for him to come back, and he finally did on that SmackDown with Jeff Hardy, as, the classic Hardy Boys. So we thought it was awesome. We marked out. It was a great moment. So probably that. Least favorite? The entire fucking year of WWE. This year has been awful for the main roster. My God. Not many great matches, not many great moments, just everything blends together. It's not bad, it's not good, it's just there. This wasn't really a moment, but the institution of the wild card rule. I just remember, and still am, very angry. Remember being very angry when Mr. McMahon came on Raw and was talking about how, oh, Raw stars on SmackDown, SmackDown stars on Raw. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I thought then that it was a bad idea. I still think now it's an awful idea. It's not doing anyone any favors. It's not doing Raw or SmackDown any favors. The shows are terrible. They're terrible. So the wild card rule is easily the worst thing to happen in WWE in 2019 from an on-air standpoint. So bad. Least favorite matches, again, not many really stand out as being bad. They're just kind of okay. Goldberg and Taker from Super Showdown was pretty fucking bad. That was pretty bad. So I would probably include that on there. And then Shane McMahon and The Miz from Money in the Bank. That, to me, was the beginning of the end for The Miz. I guess you would have to go back to WrestleMania as being the beginning of the end for The Miz. But that really solidified the, and I hate using this word, but it applies here, the burial of babyface Miz in WWE. The match was no good, and Shane winning again was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? So, anyway, Shane and Miz from Money in the Bank, Goldberg and Taker, and the fucking wild card rule would have to be among my least favorite matches and moments in WWE so far in 2019. In addition to every Raw so far this year. That would be among my favorite, or rather least favorite moments in 2019 so far for WWE. Next question comes from @HardyTheXFan. Ross, his question was, do you have a top 5 stipulation matches list? Like tables match, ladder match, etc. I mean, not really. Personally, I'm a big standard one-on-one singles guy. Like, I don't like the stipulations unless they're done right. I'm just a normal, one-on-one regular match type of person. But if they had to throw in a stipulation, ladder match, I think I've answered this before. It would probably be the ladder match at number 1. But that's about it. I like Iron Man. I didn't like the Iron Man match last year that they did between Rollins and Ziggler. I was not a fan of that match. I just thought it was really poorly produced. But overall, I'm a big fan of that stipulation. So Iron Man, ladder match. Last Man Standing can really go either way. They can be really, really good or really, really boring. Steel Cage, at this point, they're almost always like fucking riddled with interference. So, not really a Steel Cage match. Tables matches, they don't really do much for me. TLC, I guess, would probably be up there. I like the TLC matches. Hell in a Cell, when they're done right. I don't know if I would put it in my top 5 favorite, because they've really abused the stipulation as shit over the last decade since the pay-per-view was born. So, I don't think that would be in the top 5. I don't know, 2 out of 3 falls. Not what we saw on TV this week, because those were a fucking waste. But when done right, those could be good. Falls Count Anywhere can be good sometimes. So yeah, probably just the ladder match and the Iron Man match stand out to me as my favorite stipulation matches in wrestling. Ross's second question, what is your way to perfectly retire The Undertaker after that disaster at Super Showdown? Don't bring him back. Don't bring him back. I've honestly all but given up on a perfect retirement for The Undertaker. It could not get any more perfect than what we saw at WrestleMania 33, when I was there, when he lost to Roman Reigns, and the match sucked. The match sucked, but the post-match angle that they did, I don't know if it was really an angle, but Taker leaving his gear in the ring, kind of sort of saying goodbye to the fans, and then walking up the ramp and just descending into the darkness was a great way for him to go out. He loses at WrestleMania on the grandest stage of them all, puts over this up-and-comer, I guess, and then goes out and just this, and the smoke and the fire, everything was perfect. And then he came back a year later to face John Cena in a match that was a complete waste of time. So that was it. At that point, I'm like, fuck it. Who cares at this point? I don't think I've given 2 shits about an Undertaker match since he came back last year. The Cena match, I was very much against that match happening. There was that match. The Rusev match, what a waste. The Goldberg match sucked. What else has he come back for? Was that really it? Oh, no, the Triple H match last year sucked. The Crown Jewel Tag Team match with DX and Brothers of Destruction sucked. So, yeah, I think it was not going to get any better. I mean, honestly, if we're speaking honestly here, he should have retired at WrestleMania 28. No, I know that would have spared us, you know, we would not have gotten the great CM Punk match from WrestleMania 29, but honestly, I'm okay with that, because it also would have meant that we would not have had the streak get broken. We would not have had the awful matches that he had with Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns, the waste of a match with John Cena. The Bray Wyatt match wasn't bad, but it was completely pointless. Absolutely pointless. So, again, I could have done without that happening too. But yeah, he really should have retired 7 years ago in 2012 at WrestleMania 28 after that awesome end of an era Hell in a Cell match with Triple H and the end image, the closing image of him, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels at the top of the stage. Amazing visual. Everything else after that, aside from the CM Punk match, was complete garbage. So that being said, I would have booked the retirement there. If not at WrestleMania 33, at this point, what do you do to perfectly retire The Undertaker? Don't bring him back. Because that match with Goldberg was an embarrassment. It was bad. It really was bad. So, I know people like The Undertaker. I'm sorry. I like The Undertaker too. It's not that I don't. Dude, I popped big when he came back in Raw at the WrestleMania this year. I was there. Went nuts. But they keep bringing this guy back for matches that don't need to happen, and they're just not good. They're not good. Taker has not had like a great match since CM Punk 6 years ago. Name me one other match, aside from maybe the Hell in a Cell match that he had with Brock Lesnar in 2015, as being like, what other matches has he had in the last 6 years that were remotely good? None of them. They were all terrible for the most part. So again, that would be it for me. Goldberg, I think he should come back for one more match because he ended on top also at WrestleMania 33 in that great match with Brock. I think Goldberg could have one more great match left in him. Taker, I'm convinced that he's done. He's past his prime, and he has been for a while now. And why? There's really nothing redeeming about Undertaker coming back for another match. I don't care who it's against. Finn Balor, that ship sailed years ago. I don't care anymore. I just don't. So, I know he will be back, but if I was booking the show, I would not bring him back. And I think that would be as good of a way as ever to retire The Undertaker, at least now, because they missed their opportunities to do it when the time was right and when the circumstances were perfect. At this point, he might as well just go away. Next question comes from @Vresic Brett from Twitter. He's got two questions here. First one being thoughts on the possibility of Baron Corbin winning the Universal title from Seth Rollins and losing it to AJ Styles when he gets cleared. So, AJ was on the show this week. I don't know if he's cleared yet. He might be doing something with Gallows and Anderson, which is cool. Baron Corbin winning the Universal title from Rollins and losing it to AJ, no thanks. Absolutely no thank you. And I like Baron Corbin, but I think the last thing Raw needs right now is Baron Corbin as Universal Champion. He just, as a character, he's great. He's just not that guy. At least not right now. He just does not, he has not been a part of a compelling match to me in ages. Even the Rollins match at Super Showdown was as basic as it gets. And I fear for how bad the Stomping Grounds main event will be between those two. So, no thanks. Would I be upset if he won on Sunday? Maybe, but the issue is, again, I like him. So you would think I would be more excited about Baron Corbin becoming champion. I was all on board with it 2 years ago. But the guy has only regressed since 2017, since he cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase and lost. So anyway, I would rather skip that Baron Corbin step altogether and just have AJ be the one to beat Rollins for it. Why not? I know AJ lost as clean as a sheet to Rollins at Money in the Bank, but it looked like they were setting up a rematch for Super Showdown before AJ got hurt. Because AJ was supposed to be in that 4-way on Raw, unless they knew well ahead of time that AJ was not going to get cleared. I don't know. But Baron took AJ's spot and won the match. So I do think that it would have been AJ in that spot at Super Showdown. Whether they turn him heel or not, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't mind it. Because it's something new for the guy. Not new, but like, he was a great heel a couple years ago. He's a perfect babyface, but he can go as a heel too. And Raw might need it right now because their heels are terrible. Baron Corbin, he has almost zero credibility. Same thing with Bobby Lashley. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn on SmackDown and Raw have zero credibility. I would rather just build to a Rollins-Styles rematch at SummerSlam and then go off of that. Just do a, part 2 of their Money in the Bank match at SummerSlam and have AJ be the one to beat Rollins for the belt. Because if it's not AJ, who else? Who else on Raw makes sense to beat Rollins for that title? And Baron Corbin to me does not make sense, at least not right now. So I would have it be AJ. I would build to that rematch at SummerSlam, and maybe that's where AJ becomes champion. His second question, what's the possibility of WWE having Baron Corbin and Shane McMahon as WWE and Universal Champions at the same time? Don't give them any fucking ideas. That sounds awful. The Baron Corbin one, I might be able to stomach. I could possibly tolerate that. Shane McMahon as WWE Champion is an absolute disaster. That's an abortion that should be killed and just fucking whatever. That might have been a little too graphic, so I apologize. But that idea needs to be killed, slaughtered, put to bed, and never seen again. No thank you. That sounds awful. I know we've talked about this before, maybe even last week here on the show, but the idea of Shane being the one to beat Kofi for the title, which honestly could very well happen. It very well could. I'm not even denying that it would. It very well could. And it might. But the idea of Shane and Baron Corbin being concurrent world champions in WWE, they're basically inviting fans to just give up on the product at that point. To not watch the shows, to cancel the network, and to not support the product. Because that sounds fucking terrible. So no thank you. I'm not even saying that it's not possible, because it could very well be possible. That's why I'm pooping on the idea. If it wasn't possible, I would say, oh, who cares anyway, because it's not going to happen. This could happen. This could very well happen in the not-so-distant future. So, let's hope it doesn't. Let's hope it doesn't, but that just gave me douche chills just thinking about it. Just thinking about the idea of Baron and Shane being champions at the same time almost makes me want to vomit. Next question from Iwagu91 from Twitter. Their first question was, Dave Meltzer stated that AEW could possibly sell out a stadium. Based on this, do you think that the promotion could potentially sell out Madison Square Garden? Absolutely. 120%. Doesn't Madison Square Garden only fit like a little over 10,000 people? Or maybe 20,000? It's not that big of an arena. So absolutely. Absolutely. I'm honestly shocked they haven't done that yet, but maybe at some point down the road after they kind of go to these smaller arenas. But the arenas that they've been going to, not for like Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen and shit like that. I'm talking like, for Double or Nothing and All In and now All Out. They've been like 10,000 seat arenas. That was the whole point behind All In, was whether they could sell out a 10,000 person arena. Now, if what I've been hearing is true, and then there were 60,000 people waiting in the online line to get a seat for All Out, that's a lot of fucking people. Now, again, some of those might be people trying to get tickets for, StubHub, trying to sell them to others and shit like that, and, whatever, just getting tickets to sell to other people or having multiple browsers open at the same time. That's still not that many people. That's the vast minority. So that's a lot of people waiting in line to get tickets for All Out. So if 60,000 people were online at the same time to get tickets for that show, they could sell out Madison Square Garden within minutes. Within minutes. Maybe not like a minute, but like within a few hours. Absolutely. 120%. New York is a very die-hard wrestling market. So, of course, people would want to get AEW over here because they have yet to come over here to the Northeast. They've been to Vegas and Chicago. They're in Florida. Not yet any shows here in the Northeast. and maybe they feel like it's WWE territory, but I guarantee you at some point they will try for MSG. Cody even said it. I went to a Ring of Honor TV taping about a year ago. The footage is up here on the channel if you want to go back in my live reactions tab. And it made the rounds on Twitter. People picked up on it. That Cody said, oh, what if we had All In too at MSG? And of course, that didn't happen. They had G1 Supercard at MSG, but they weren't a part of it because they left the company before they could be on the show. So yeah, I think it could happen. I think it could happen, and that it will happen. They would have no problem selling out Madison Square Garden. If Ring of Honor New Japan could do it, I know they're more established, but there's way more buzz right now around AEW. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of the people that bought tickets for G1 Supercard bought tickets with the intention of seeing Cody and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Adam Page. And there were a lot of people disappointed, myself included, that they weren't on that show. I understand why. But I got my tickets thinking that I'd be able to see those guys live. And I couldn't, not at least on that show. I went to Double or Nothing the following month, so it worked out. But, yeah. So I think a lot of those same people would buy tickets to an AEW show at MSG, and it would do very, very well. Their second question, does Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship victory in WrestleMania moment solidify him as a future WWE Hall of Famer? That's a good question. Yes. But I would argue, honestly, I mean, there's no concrete criteria for what makes a WWE Hall of Famer. What makes a superstar Hall of Fame worthy in WWE. But I would argue, to be quite honest with you, that Kofi was already Hall of Fame worthy. The guy has held God knows how many titles in WWE. He's been a multi-time IC champion, US champion, tag team champion. For the New Day stuff alone, he was going into the Hall of Fame. Let alone all the IC and US title reigns. Now I know, he's a mid-carder. I mean, he's not now, but he was for a long time. And I'm sure I've had this question pop up here on the show before, and my answer probably would have been the same. That, yeah, he's a mid-carder, but they have fucking Rikishi in there. What the fuck did Rikishi ever do? The Hall of Fame really means nothing in that regard. Like, they could let in anyone. The Godfather didn't do jack shit for the most part. So if they could let in Rikishi and the Godfather, two glorified mid-carders from the Attitude Era, I see no reason why they would not put Kofi in there at some point. He'll probably be put in with New Day, but he could always go in on his own too. Hey, maybe Kofi Kingston will be a two-time Hall of Famer too. The same way that Shawn Michaels has been, and Booker T, for God's sakes. Is Booker T really a two-time Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But he's in there twice, with a tag team, with his brother, and on his own. So I could see Kofi going in with the New Day and on his own at some point. Absolutely. Their next question, Kenny Omega wants to book AEW's women's division to be their equivalent to WCW's Cruiserweight division. Your thoughts on that and Tony Khan revealing his plans on women's tag team titles? Yeah, Khan did reveal that. He did announce the women tag team titles on the Stone Cold podcast, the Steve Austin show on Podcast One, iTunes yesterday. Listen to it. Great listen. So if you haven't already checked it out, please do so. They also said, Khan did reveal on that same podcast that they're holding a tag team tourney to crown the first ever AEW World Tag Team Champions when AEW arrives on TNT in the fall, and they'll be doing house shows, but not a lot. And when they do the house shows, they're going to put a lot of time and effort into them and put all the big stars on the shows. So it's not like they're B crew running the fucking house shows. It would be everybody, which is cool. I just want to throw that out there. But anyway, with the women's tag team titles real quick. I'm not a fan. And people are not going to like that answer. I'm glad he's ambitious to do women's tag team titles. The issue right now is that I feel that their women's division is easily the weakest part of their promotion. The tag teams are fucking stacked. The singles ranks are fucking stacked. Main event scene, fucking stacked. The women's, not as much. They have Nyla Rose, who I honestly don't think is very good. Britt Baker, she's a work in progress. But if Britt Baker is the best one that you have in your division, the same woman that got squashed by Shayna Baszler in fucking 2 minutes on NXT 6 months ago, that's an issue. Yeah, they have Kylie Ray, she's good. Awesome Kong, I think, is great. They need to hire more women. Penelope Ford, maybe? I know she's the valet, or was the valet for Joey Janela. I think she's in AEW. I'm not 100% sure. Brandy Rhodes, don't even get me started on her. So women's tag team titles, it's a good idea, in theory. But first of all, I don't think if they were to institute them, that they would instantly forget about them and not give two shits about them the same way that WWE has with their women's tag team titles, which are completely pointless and meaningless at this point in time in WWE. Women's tag team titles, I mean, Tony Khan has a great mind for the business. You listen to that podcast or any other interview that the guy's done, he knows his shit. He knows what he's talking about. So, yeah, I mean, I think he would do right by them. The issue is, they don't have any women. They have, what, maybe 6 women on the roster? 6 women. How can you do tag team titles if you don't have enough women to fill out just a women's roster in general? So I think he was thinking more long-term. Definitely more long-term, because right now, I don't know how the fuck that would work. I don't think they're going to rush to that in the fall, the same way they are for the tag titles for the men, which makes sense. The women's, they'll probably wait a while before they bring in more women and they sign more women. I'm shocked Emma Tennille Dashwood isn't there yet. Very surprised. They have Allie too, who's also good from Impact, but they need more women. So I don't even want to entertain that idea until they show that they can have a division that they can build around with the women. Because right now they don't really have anything. That women's match, even the women's tag team match, the Joshi tag team match, people really overrated that shit. No one in the building gave 2 fucks until like the ending 5 minutes. I didn't know who the hell they were. I was given no reason to care about them. And even in their in-ring action, okay, I've seen good matches on Raw and SmackDown and, fucking Ring of Honor and Impact for years now. So, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of the women's matches at Double or Nothing. It's not that it's not that I'm not a women's wrestling fan. The issue is that I don't think they have a very strong women's division right now in AEW to even think about women's tag team titles. Focus on getting more women first, and then we'll talk. Because right now, it's not that good. So maybe it will be their version of what WCW's Cruiserweight division was years ago. But I think for right now, their version of that will be their own male tag team division, because they have a lot of tag teams. And I think that could be where they really shine, the same way that the X division was, Impact's, their claim to fame many years ago. That was what separated them from everyone else. And I think we could see something similar in AEW with the men's tag team division, and maybe eventually the women, but they got to work on that first. And his final question here: do you think that Low-Key came to WWE too late? Honestly, no. I think he came to WWE too early. I know Low-Key came in 2010. He might have been in the company by 2009, probably 2010, early 2010. But I feel like, it was right after Daniel Bryan, right after CM Punk. I don't know why you would think too late. Maybe because he didn't come in with those guys at the same exact time. I feel like he was too early, because Punk and Bryan didn't really break that ceiling for what like an indie guy could achieve in WWE until like 2011, 2012. And by that point, Low-Key was already long gone from WWE. And I think they fired him. I know the rumor at one point was that he left. I think he's gone to the record and saying that they fired him. So it wasn't even a Low-Key call. It was that they didn't really want him anymore because they had nothing for him. But had he come in 2012, 2013, like now with NXT, he would have been a star. He would have been a big star. I don't know how, his mic skills aren't the greatest, but I've always enjoyed his work and Impact, and I think the guy's a great talent. But, I think his attitude might be a big issue from what I've heard. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. I've talked to him before in an interview for an Impact conference call, and he was nice. I don't know. But, he's not going to come in now because he's already soured on WWE. He had a bad experience previously. He wouldn't come in now, but had he not gone there 10 years ago, and he came in now instead, or even a few years ago when NXT really started to get popular, he definitely, absolutely would have been way more successful than he was. I've talked about Low-Key here on the show before, and the whole idea to pair him with Lay Cool, which was a fucking mess. That was clearly their way of sabotaging Low-Key, because they tried to do it with Daniel Bryan by pairing him off with someone who had half as much experience as him in The Miz, and Bryan made it work, and they made money out of it. Loki and Lakewool was even worse, and there was no way that could work, and it was just a waste of time. He tried, but it didn't work. So they really had it out for him from the beginning. Even when he won the fucking second season of NXT, he got attacked by all the other losers, and that went nowhere. So, again, he would have been way better off holding off on WWE until maybe at least 2012, 2013, if not later. At Jeremy8911 from Twitter, his question was, thoughts on Sarah Logan possibly being paired to the Viking Raiders, and how long until Rowan becomes a member of the Viking Raiders? It might be only inevitable. I was thinking of that whole, that Spider-Man meme, where it's the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other. That meme immediately came to mind when I saw the Viking Raiders make their entrance on Raw this week and walk right past Bryan and Rowan. So, I mean, I think maybe not anytime soon, but down the road, absolutely. That is just, I don't want to see it. The Viking Raiders are perfectly fine on their own. But whatever. It's not going to change their decision to do it eventually anyway. Sarah Logan with the Viking Raiders. Again, the Viking Raiders, I think, are good on their own. They always have been. But at the same time, Sarah Logan fits that mold. She's the fucking wife of Raymond Rowe. I don't know if it's Igor or whatever the hell his name is now. Ivar, Igor, whatever. She's married to him in real life. So it works. They'd have chemistry. It would give her something to do. She's done nothing since the Riot Squad broke up. None of them have done anything. Liv Morgan went to SmackDown. We have not seen her since. Sarah Logan remained on Raw. Have not seen her since. Ruby Riott got hurt, so she has an excuse to not be on TV. I know Sarah Logan will not be the next Raw Women's Champion, but they could at least have her on TV. Losing to Becky Lynch or something. She hasn't even been on TV. So I know they teased something with her during a commercial break on Raw this week, where she came out and cut a promo. They've been airing that shit recently on their YouTube channel. If they have someone come out during the commercial break and cut a promo during Raw or SmackDown, they'll air it on their YouTube channel. But I don't think that made YouTube. Maybe they're just testing the waters to see how it would be received. I don't know. But, yeah, I think it could work. I don't know. I'm not saying it would. It absolutely would. But, hey, the Viking Raiders feel cold right now. They've just returned to TV after over a month away. So I would put them, with her. Why not? I think it's a pairing that could have potential. And it gives everyone involved something to do. So why the hell not? At R_Marceau, Mr. Marceau, his first question was, if you complain about Raw, why do you watch? And he did that with a whole SpongeBob, I can't even, describe it, but, that SpongeBob meme where he's, bending down and he's talking to someone looking all stupid. But basically what RJ is rehashing here is the question that I was posed on Twitter a few days ago with someone asking me, I see your tweets every week about Raw and you complain every time. Why do you still watch? What a dumb fucking question to ask me of all people. I love wrestling. But even if I didn't I wouldn't be doing what I do anyway. I do shows on this shit. I record podcasts on this shit. I write about this shit. I get paid to write about this shit. Why would I not watch Raw? I know what you're saying. I hate that fucking argument, though. I hate that argument that, well, if you don't like it, then why do you watch? What a dumb question. That's it's the biggest cop-out I've ever heard in my entire life. Anyone defending this product is a fucking moron, by the way, because Raw has never been worse. Yeah, it was better this week, I will give people that, but if you're praising WWE up the butthole right now, saying, I don't know what people are complaining about, they need to shut the fuck up and stop watching, blah, blah, blah. The show sucks. The show sucks. I don't know if you're blind or what, but, we're clearly not watching the same show. I hate that fucking argument. But even if I wasn't getting paid to write about this shit, it's still a dumb argument. Just because it's not good doesn't mean that you shouldn't watch it. You watch your favorite shows in the hopes that they get better. You want to see them improve. I've talked about this before. Just tuning out altogether and not watching, hey, that's your prerogative. If you want to do that, that's great. It's not going to help this product at all. Maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe the ratings get low enough. But I've never understood that. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, it's I understand I kind of get it with any other show. Like, I hated Jersey Shore back in the day. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it and be like, oh, this is shit. Like, this is awful. This is so dumb. Why do people like this? I wasn't doing that. I just didn't watch it. So clearly I'm watching for a reason, because I enjoy the show. I just want to see it get better. It's such a dumb thing to say. I know that's not his actual question. RJ's real question was, on a serious note, what matches are you looking forward to at Fyter Fest? The whole show is going to be great. That's going to be a great weekend for wrestling. Like I said at the start of the show, Ring of Honor has their Best in the World pay-per-view next Friday. And then Fyter Fest is the next day. And it's free on Bleacher Report Live, which is awesome. So I will be watching both, assuming nothing pops up between now and then. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the show. Janela and Moxley, I think, could be great. So like I said, I saw Moxley at a Northeast Wrestling show last Friday. He faced Darby Allin, who I'm not familiar with at all. It wasn't announced as a no DQ match. They made it a no DQ match, and it was great. Had a few, botch spots, early on. But once they got the hang of it, they killed it. It was a great match. Got a lot of traction online. I put the video up on my channel of 7 minutes worth of the match. Which, by the way, I had to take down. For those listening to this wondering where the video went, I had to take it down. I was asked by someone at NEW to take it down because it hurts their DVD sales, which I totally get. So it's if you want to find the video, you have to go back and look up a link of the video. Like, for example, if you type in Moxley and Darby Allin on YouTube, on Google, on YouTube it wouldn't show up, or even on my channel. But if you type it in on Google and go to Google Images and you see the thumbnail of the video and you click on the link, you'll find the video. It's unlisted. It's not private. So I tweeted links to the videos on Saturday when I published them. So they're on the channel if you look hard enough. For those wondering what happened to it and whatever, that's why. So I apologize. But anyway, what I was getting at was Janela and Allin, great match. So I know Janela and Moxley and Allin, was a great match. Janela also had a very good match on that show with Brad Hollister and NEW regular, which I also posted a clip of here on the channel. So Janela Moxley is going to be insane, have no doubt about it. Allin, who I just saw for the first time on Friday, he's facing Cody on this show. That should be a really good match too. The three-way tag should be awesome. This just got added, but it's SCU, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian versus Best Friends versus Private Party, who were also at that AEW show. And they're awesome too. So that's going to be a great match. The Elite, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid, who I am familiar with from Impact when he was there for a brief time in 2017 or so. Yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm very much looking forward to it. But probably the match I'm excited for the most, Janela Moxley. But the entire card should be a blast. If Double or Nothing was any indication as to how good the AEW shows will be going forward. And then the last question of the day, also from Mr. Marceau. With the buzz around AEW, why don't they run bigger venues? So I got done talking about this earlier, but I feel it's because they're just starting out, and they want to make it, not that they want to make it seem like, oh, we could sell out these arenas even though they're 5,000, 10,000 people, which is impressive, but it comes to a certain point where if they keep running 10,000 person arenas, 10,000 seat arenas, it's not as impressive anymore. Because you can't be a big fish in a small pond. You got to move up eventually. Now, I know they're doing well in these arenas that WWE would have trouble actually filling out, which, again, is amazing. But I'm not saying that they should go to fucking Gillette Stadium or go to MetLife. I'm not saying that. But, gradually work your way up to, a Madison Square Garden. And then if you sell that out immediately, you go to a 20,000-seat arena. And then a 30,000-seat arena. You can't do it overnight. Because if you did it in one day, they'd be criticized of being WCW light. So I get it. Because WCW started to go to the bigger stadiums and shit almost immediately after they became popular. And that's why they fizzled out so quickly. In addition to so many other things. But, they shouldn't jump to conclusions thinking they could sell out an 80,000-seat arena But if they slowly but surely work their way up, I could see, it can work. Absolutely. So that being said, they have All Out. I don't know what their next show would be after that, but I mean, if it's like a smaller show like Fyter Fest, then whatever. If it's in a bingo hall. But for Double or Nothing, whatever their next big pay-per-view is after All Out, it has to be in a bigger arena. It has to be. Like, I'm not saying 50,000 people, but like, they gotta start running slightly bigger venues. Because if they keep doing the 10,000 seat arenas, first of all, a lot of people are missing out. Because a lot of people want to go to these shows and can't get tickets. Second of all, it just makes them seem like they're scared, not to grow, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's impressive if 10,000 people come to your shows every fucking time, but like, getting 20,000, that's a little more impressive. So I want to see them take a risk on themselves, take a chance, go out there. Again, baby steps. Not 50, but 20,000 people in like MSG. I don't think MSG fits that many, but go to MSG for next year's big show, and then maybe another one, and then another one. Again, gradual steps, baby steps here. It's got to be a gradual process. But I could see why they're not doing it now, because they just started and they don't want to get too ahead of themselves. But I do agree that going forward, after All Out, they should be starting to consider running slightly bigger venues. Because clearly, if you could sell out a small arena in 5 minutes, that's awesome. It was impressive with All Out, with All In. A little less impressive with like Double or Nothing, and then it gets less impressive each time. Because we know that they're capable of more. So we'll see what they could do with that, and hopefully they can start running bigger venues by 2020. And that's going to do it, guys, for episode 290 here today on Rey Mysterio Day. God, I fucked that up. On Rey Mysterio Day. There we go. Booyaka, booyaka, bitches. But thank you guys for checking out the show. As always, I appreciate it. Be sure to send in your questions by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Leave a question on the post I usually put up on Tuesday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section of this very video. I'll include it in next week's edition. So with all that being said, guys, have a great rest of your week. Try to enjoy the Stomping Grounds on Sunday. I know it's going to be difficult, but at least make an effort to. And like I said at the start of the show, Wrestle Rant Radio this week, Thursday. It's probably dropping tonight around midnight if I can get some stuff done between now and then. So in approximately 11-12 hours, Wrestle Rant Radio, my exclusive interview with a star from Ring of Honor, and they're pretty high up on the totem pole there. So it's going to be a great interview. Check it out, guys, on Wrestle Rant Radio, and then soon after on fan-sided DailyDDT.com. Daily DDT is where you can find the interview once it's published, either tomorrow or Friday. At any rate, guys, have a great one. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.